Oh, I think I'm ready. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get down to it. So tonight, this is the picture that I'm going to be painting for you. It's a nice lake scene here. Got some nice distance, hills back here. Guy standing in one of these boats. I don't know if he's just come in from fishing or if he's getting ready to go out to go fishing, but this is what I've chosen to paint for you tonight. I've got some paper here. This was an old stack of paper that I had in, I believe this is Strathmore paper, probably wind power paper. I can talk more about that later if you want. Tonight I will be using my new set of Mission Gold class watercolor paints. Here's my swatch card, my color card for those, and here are my paints. Stop motion, hello. Minty, hello. Fun stuff, how are you? Let me put my paints over on the side and turn on the paint cam. Let's get that straightened around right away. I think that's pretty good right there. I'll get my card up out of the way. As has been my fashion in recent times, I'm going to be using two sets of brushes. My Dana Quill Squirrel Mop brushes, here they are. And my Maritini Gray Squirrel Rounds. Again, love these brushes. I actually love both of these sets of brushes. I think they're absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to be using those. I don't know what else I need to get into before I get started. Oh, before I go too far, I do need to say thank you to Fun Stuff after the stream last week. I believe you contributed to the coffee fund. Thank you so much. Stop motion, these brushes look beautiful. These brushes are absolutely beautiful. They hold a lot of water. They're great. The only problem I have with these brushes is I wish they had made the writing on them either a lot lighter or a lot darker. But no matter, they're fantastic brushes. Okay, with that, I think I am going to get going. Mrs. T, welcome, welcome, welcome. And typically, what I do is I just lay down a wash here and there and hope for the best, really. This week, I'm going to kind of divide this painting into two halves. I've got a nice, strong horizon line here. Or not really a horizon line, a water line, really. It's not far from the horizon line, but a nice, strong water line. And I'm going to paint everything above that line. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to paint everything below that line. Or at least, fingers crossed, that's the way I'm going to hope to do this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with a really light wash of an ochre color. Right, a really light wash of this. I haven't taken this away yet. I'm mixing my paint over here on the side. And I'm doing that for a reason. The reason is as soon as I take this away, I know it's going to close the iris down in my camera. And I want to kind of leave that as long as I can. So you can see a little bit. Oh, there we go. That's a nice bit of wash. Here we go. And it's going to close down, I'm sure. So I'm going to put on this bit of an ochre wash here. And what I'm hoping is that I can then come back in and put some blue on top of this and make a nice warmer sky color. Oh, I'm sorry, let me do this. Let's see, where is my picture? There it is. you can see it's a bright, sunny day out on the lake. And I want to match that as best I can. And the way I'm going to do that is like this, right down to that water line. Okay, there is one little bit of this now. Let's see. This is the brush that's so nice. These little quill brushes, these are really nice brushes, I have to say. I really do like these. Okay, now I have to do my sky. I'm going to do the blue part of my sky. I'm going to do a bit of this cobalt blue. And I will admit to not having done this before. So if it doesn't work out, it's my fault, but it's it's always going to be my fault. That's okay. If it doesn't work out, it's my fault. And you know my motto, if it doesn't work out, that's fine. We're just going to keep right on pedaling on through, and we'll deal with it. I try to be I'll try to be Rossian about it. Bob Ross, of course. We don't really have any real mistakes. We have things that maybe don't go quite so much in our way, but mistakes, not really. We'll roll with the punches and see where it gets us. And already you can see as I'm putting this in, now I'm actually just drawing in some of that background or painting in some of that background. You can see our sky, well, it's blue. It's got so much yellow in it, but it's immediately got a whole lot of interest to it. Right, there's a lot going on. Let's see, I'm going to change this color a little bit, maybe a little bit of this. I would call it azo orange. What's it called? Permanent yellow deep in here. We'll add a layer of some green in here. That'll mix with those other colors and make a nice greenish color for us. Looks dusky now. Yeah, I can see that. Either dusk or early morning. One of the two. Sun is starting to come up just over the horizon there. Either way. All right, I'm going to leave that like that. And I think my hope is, like I said, hello, Terry. My hope is that this is going to be a better sky than just the normal blue that I put on there. I always worked under the, hello, Michelle. Hello, Aileen. Wow, everybody's joining in. This is great. My normal sky is I just put a wash of blue down there, and I don't worry too much about it. And I've always done that for the reason that if I want to do something in the foreground that has detail, I don't necessarily want to put a whole lot of detail in the sky, because you'll have detail down here and detail up there. But I've been thinking about it recently, and maybe I could do a little bit more than I had been doing. So that's the reason I'm doing a little bit more here. Let me see if I can pull this in just a little bit. I'm looking at the screen. There we go. That fits it in there really nicely. And I've also been thinking that I've been doing a lot of painting, and I need to start working in figures in the paintings that I do. Somehow, I don't know exactly how it happens, but somehow putting in a figure in your painting really makes it a lot nicer, I don't know, I'm not going to say better, but it just adds a bit of interest that we don't have in other times. Okay, so this is going to start drying up here. I think I've rambled on far enough. Mrs. T, you like it so far? Thank you. What I'm going to start to do with my same brush here is I'm going to start to mix up some watercolor, and we're going to some watercolor in watercolor. Let's say it that way. And it looks like I didn't clean my brush all that much. I'm okay with it. In fact, I'm just going to use that same pool that color is in. And I'm going to get a nice mixture of blues. I'm going to try to actually get a little bit of range of blues. I'm going to look here. It's pretty light up here. As I'm looking at this, let's stop and talk about this for a minute. As I'm looking at this reference photo, let's do this. You go away. You come in here. So you've got two images. This one I hope is a little bit bigger. This is the one I'm looking at. What we have here is kind of a dark way back here on that distant shoreline, and some back here also. And then a big light patch or lighter patch in the middle, and then it starts to get dark down here again inside the boats. So I'm going to try to duplicate that to some extent. Kathy, first of all, Kathy, hello. And hello, no name. That's interesting. So that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to get a nice little puddle of blue here, and I'm going to mix that with, I don't know what I'm going to mix that with, a bunch of different things. Maybe a little bit of this red. What is this red? Rose madder here. That'll give us a little bit of a purple-ish. Right, maybe when we get down here and we want some true darker colors, right, that'll help us out there. A little bit of this Van Dyke brown will help darken that up. And on this side, a little bit more of the pure blue. Paradoxos, hello, good evening, buenos noches. I don't speak Spanish. I don't have much more than that, so please don't press me on it. Okay, and so let me see if I can't get started with this a little bit, and maybe we'll have to put in a little bit of this color and come back and put a little bit, darken it up a little bit later on. Now I have made a little change to my water line. I gave it that little inlet right there that you see, right? Just because. That didn't have to be there. It could have been there. It could not have been there. You know what? Maybe it was there in the reference photo. It's just the light hits it funny. So it comes in like that. So, all right, now I'm into on this side over here anyways, really a lighter area. I'm going to try to paint around this guy. If I don't get exactly around him, again, going to not let it bother me. Not let it bother me too much. Yeah, let it bother me a little bit, but going to not let it bother me. And I'm definitely going to paint around this boat. All right, and you can see our colors here. We've got some beautiful colors separating out here, and I do have a little bit of dark right up here. I think you can just see that. Thirsty for a brew, hello. Great to see you. In fact, while I've got these colors here, I'm just going to give that another shot and darken that up. And I'm going to hope that it doesn't bleed too much down towards what we're doing down here. And before I start yabbering away too much and forget that I have a hard edge here, I'm going to try to get some more colors on the page here. Right, and everybody's probably looking at this going, oh, I don't know about that watercolor. That's a bit, that water, I don't know about that color of that water. How about that? That'd be a better way to say it. I don't know about the color of that water. It's a bit odd. Well, that's okay. I'm not going to worry too much about that because a lot of the color is going to be in the viewer's eye, but I'm just going to blend that out down here. This is going to be grass down there, so I'm not worried too much about that. Give me a little bit more of this blue in here. Just being careful to go around the boat. I don't know if anybody has said anything. Give me a second. I'm trying to concentrate. Let's see what's going on. Just give me a second. I hope I'm not in anybody's view. Trying not to be. And I'm taking a lot of shorter strokes, shorter, jabbier strokes here. Because for me, you know, this is not necessarily anything I would suggest that you do. I've just found that it kind of works for me, is that I can take a lot of little shorter strokes like this around, around these boats and around any tight line that I need to get to. And I have found that if I, let's see, that's a oar coming out of there. If I do a lot of shorter strokes like this, I seem to be able to get up to the edges of whatever I'm painting a bit more. And then of course, when you're out here in the field of the painting, you could take, larger strokes, but in close, these little strokes, kind of with the tip of the brush, helps me anyways, quite a bit. There's my water, and what I'm gonna do before I get too far into this, I've been using this indigo as kind of a Payne's gray or a neutral tint color. And I know I'm going to have a few darker shadows in here. So before this totally dries up, I'm going to just hit it with a little bit of a darker color right on top of here. Something like that. That's going to help with any of the shadows I'm going to create in here. And we've got some darks that come out here. Something like that. Right, okay, if I had done this with a bit of a larger brush, I'd be done by now. I'd be able to look up and answer questions. I didn't, so I can look up now. Okay, let's see, who's here? Everybody's here. No name, no judgment. Paradoxo, sorry. Let's see. No hablo español. I haven't spoken any Spanish since high school, and that was quite a long time ago. I apologize for that. I don't know a whole lot of Spanish. Kathy, you're really funny. You've missed since the llama. Oh, well. I don't know, there's been 2 since we did the llama? I'm doing great, no worries. Thank you. But anyways, if you haven't been here since the llama, thank you for coming, and I hope you can join us in the future. Is this wood pulp paper? Yes, this is wood pulp paper. This is Strathmore wind power paper, which is why I get a little bit of this funny run up here. I really did need to wait till it was totally dry, and I didn't. That's on me. I am going to get back to using on Wednesdays. I am going to get back to using my old B paper, if not some Arches paper or some other higher quality paper. I've been using this and this Strathmore paper. I should say I've had a ton of it. I've got a ton. I've got more, and I want to use it up. I can't. I'm too. I don't know. Is frugal the right word? I don't know if frugal is exactly the right word. But I can't. I just can't bring myself to get rid of it because it's good. You know, it's good paper and it can still be used. It just, you have to use it a little bit differently. So I still have it and I want to use it. But for a lot of things, I'm going to start using the, little step up with a little bit of better paper. Okay, so here we are. This is a distant hill. Sudikwe1, first time viewer, welcome. Thank you for joining us all. Make yourself at home. If you have any questions, please just throw them out there. I love answering questions. That's part of why I do my Wednesday live streams, because I enjoy answering questions for people, and I've had such help in my beginning as I've gotten going in watercolors. I want to pass that along to everybody else. Spanish translation. Thank you, Aileen. Thanks for the effort on the painting. Well, thank you. SudiQ. Okay, so SudiQ. Sorry about that. So this is an interesting one. If you saw me paint this distant hill here, this is, if you don't know how to paint distant hills, let me tell you. All you have to do is paint the top of the hill, zoop, like that, and then a wet brush, you just paint over, and the paint draws down, and all of a sudden you got a distant hill. You don't need a whole lot of detail in it. Super easy. Takes you almost no time to do. And now I'm just going to put in some of this hill. Right, there's a few trees here. I want to indicate those. Come on, give me another. Let me mix a different color in here. What do we have here? I'll mix a little burnt sienna in with that green. Warm that up a little bit. I don't want all of that same color going in here. How did I hide the pencil lines? I didn't. I didn't hide the pencil lines, and quite honestly, I didn't even try to hide the pencil lines. I drew it with a 3H pencil. It was either a 3H or an F pencil. I've got both of them around here. And then I just drew it as I would. I didn't do anything special with it. And I think I've talked about my theory of, whoa, let me make sure I'm in frame here. I'm sorry, I'm getting out of frame. I think I've talked about my theory of pencil lines in the past. I don't worry about them. If they're there, they're there for me. If they're not, they're not. And that pencil line, actually, you know what? I'm looking at my reference photo. I've got some darks right next to this, right next to where these two join. So I'm going to put those in just a second. If I end up with a pencil line somewhere and you can see it, all that means to me is that you can tell I drew it before I painted it. It really doesn't bother me for the most part. I guess there have been a few times where it has, but for the most part, it doesn't bother me if you could see the pencil lines. But if it bothers you, I get it. You could use a a harder pencil, or you could, what am I trying to say? You could draw the image on with your normal pencil, then you could erase the image, and on watercolor paper you won't be able to erase the entire thing, right? You'll be able to erase some of it, and by erasing some of it, then you will, oh, I didn't want Viridian. By erasing some of it, you'll still be able to see quite a bit of it as you paint, but the vast majority of it will be gone. I'm just dropping in some color here and there. It's going to give us a little bit of interest in there, and I'm done with that side. I'm going to come over and do the same thing, only much quicker, on this side over here. I just touched that. I hope that's dry. And this is going to go right in front of that distant hill that I had just painted. Boy, I have that Viridian in a bad spot for me. I just keep touching that. It has a Martha's Vineyard feel to it. That's interesting. Let's see. Minty says, no name. Use a hard pencil to start with a light touch, and dab all over with a kneaded eraser. There you go. And that should get off quite a bit of the pencil line that you get on there. All right, and this little bit of blue that's in here, with any luck, should push this little bit here. You know what? I need to make this a little bigger, don't I? That's a little better. This little bit of blue in here should make this side go back just a little further than this side. Let me get a smaller pencil, a smaller brush. I can't talk. It's almost like I've never done this before, even though I have many times. And there's my shoreline. That is definitely a trick I learned from Bob Ross. Bob Ross always puts a shoreline in dark like that. This has a Martha's Vineyard feel to it. I've never been to Martha's Vineyard. I do want to go at some point, but I've never been there. Okay, so now we've got 3 boats to deal with. We're going to come back and we'll touch the water up a little bit in a bit. But look, we're done with everything above the water line. We're done with it. We're not going back up there. We're not going to touch anything else. The sky of the model attracts too much attention for the observer. The sky of the model. Oh, all of the clouds. Oh, all of the clouds here are too much. Yeah, this is. Actually, it's a beautiful sky here. Where I live in California, we don't always get a whole lot of sky. But this is, it's got a nice warm spot here. It could be a sunset, it could be a sunrise. I guess either way, it's going to put our shadows on this side, on the lower side here. And we are going to have to put in a little bit more shadow here to incorporate that this is a larger mass and this is closer to us. But we're going to get to that. What I want to start with is, I'm going to start, well, you know what I'm going to start with? I'm going to start with the inside of these boats. And these 2 boats here, let me drop down to, I'm going to go down to a little smaller brush. It's a number 10, but it's the smallest number 10 brush that I've ever used. This is the Martini brush. Gray squirrel, and I'm going to use a mix of mostly, I'm mixing it right here in the corner, mostly ultramarine and just a touch of the Van Dyke brown, and it's going to make a nice gray for me right there. And I'm going to use that as the inside of this boat, right? Actually, I'm going to do the whole entire inside of this boat, and I'll come back and we'll get, you know what? I'm going to make the call. This guy's got some really dark pants on, so I can just cut him off right there. It's going to give us this nice, beautiful blue-gray, and since this is our shadow side over here, we can really make this as dark as we want. Got to be careful not to touch that yet. I'm also trying to be a little careful not to put my head underneath the camera so that you end up just watching my hair. I know I've done that before. That can't be a whole lot of fun. All right, there's the inside of the first one. Now you just need to translate Michael to Spanish. That one I think you can do. That one I think I could do. God, it's been so long since I've taken a Spanish class. All right, in this boat here also, I'm just going to do the entire inside. I drew in some seats in that, and I'm not really going to pay attention to those at the moment. And this one, it doesn't matter, excuse me, it doesn't matter a whole lot on this one anyways, because this one is so far away from us. It's got a little bit watery. I'm just going to get a little bit of this out with this dry brush. And right up there. There we go. And so this one, this boat in the front, I do kind of need to pay attention to. And I'm going to do that by painting everything above the seat that I see and everything below the seat. So I tried to kind of keep it true to the image inside the boat here. It's got, I'll explain it to you. I know the image that you're looking at in the corner is not really big. It's a little hard to see what I've got here. But it's a normal boat. It's got some bench seating in it, and on top of the bench seats are some stadium seats. They're there. There are two of them. One here in the front and one here in the back. So I'm just going to try to paint around these a little bit. We'll see how it goes. Now you guys asked me last week, next, thank you for joining us. Let's see. Well, you guys are talking in Spanish. I don't even know what you're doing. I'm looking it up there and I'm going, oh, I don't have any idea. You guys asked me at one point if there's anybody I really like to watch on YouTube. And one of the people I do watch, I think I mentioned him, is Andy Evenson. Wonderful, unbelievable painter, just unbelievable. And I missed on one of the big things that he talks about. He talks about having everything connected in this painting somehow. So for me, I would have this guy's head up here. in this landmass, and I would have these boats, these three boats, touching each other somewhere. But I drew the picture, and I thought about that after I drew the picture. I really kind of missed out on that. But in addition to putting people in my paintings, I do want to do a little bit more of keeping these images connected to each other. And it gives a more cohesive feel to things. So in the future, we're going to try to be doing a bit more of that. Okay, so I've got the inside done on these, and I'm going to start painting the outside of these boats a little bit more blue, a little bit less of the whatever color that is, the Van Dyke brown. I have to look. God, I was looking for this. I was looking for this over there, and I couldn't see it. I couldn't find it. It's up in front of me. A little bit more of the ultramarine, a little bit less of the Van Dyke brown. And this little boat here looks like it lost a little bit of its shape. I'm going to give it back to it, because I can do that with this line that I'm drawing on, and then I'm going to let this just come up. What color am I painting inside the boat? Inside the boat, it's a mix of ultramarine blue and Van Dyke brown. There we go, and I'm going to, whoops, I don't want that cobalt. And I'm going to put in a darker dark here for this, right as I'm doing this. And I'm going to let that dark go up that edge a little bit. And now I've got a ripple from this boat. I know it's more triangular. I'm okay with that. In the end, I think it's going to work out. We're going to have a nice dark there for it. Let's see, I need a little bit more of this with just a touch of that. I'm going to do the same thing on this boat, right on the bottom of it. Let's see, right up along the front up here is probably going to be a bit darker. Right, this area, because it's furthest away from our light source. Oh, wrong one. Come on, Michael, get it right. And then as I go back to, I hope you guys can see what I'm doing, as I go back to the back side of this boat, it's gonna go more towards the water line. There'll be more light hitting this boat, and then I'm gonna blend that edge all the way up to the oh, what's it called? Blend that all the way up to the rail. Come on, somebody help me out. I know, God, I know there's a name for it. It's right on the tip of my tongue. What that little ridge line around there is called. Somebody knows. You guys are just, you're making me sweat it out. No idea. Ah, come on. It's the... whatever it is. I don't have any idea. All right. I'm just talking. I don't know what it is either. All right, so both ends here, both sides of the bow are, you know, pretty much in the same amount of shadow here. So I'm going to put that color on full on both sides. Right down here, and I've got a little bit of water here on this side of it, so I can do the same thing that I did on that side. And for next week, I'm going to brush up on my boat terminology. I got bow, right? Bow's right. Boat edge, the hull, the rim. I don't have any idea. I know there's a name for it. I have no idea what it is. There, this is how this one's gonna go. Let's see. Get a few ripples in here, like that. I don't want that to be a total hard edge. I was hoping that some of this color would just kind of seep up the side of the boat like it did on this one, right? A little bit of reflected light up there. I don't think we got it. We're getting a little bit here. I tried to just touch that. We'll see how it goes when we're done. But our boat shape is looking like a boat shape. All right, before I go any further with anything down here, I want to look at my water and make sure my water is the way I want it to be. And it's not quite. Right? I think I want it, I need it to be darker up here still because this landmass. So I'm going to start with, well, let's see, I'll just go back up here. A little bit more of this ultramarine. And you know what? I'm just going to drop in a touch of this green here because we should have some of this green reflected in this water. I know this is either going to make it or it's going to make it look terrible. One of the two. Right? One of the two. I'm voting on it's actually going to work out in the long run. I got my fingers crossed on this one too. With some nice darker colors up there, and then I'm just going to let it get a nice smooth transition down from there all the way down to the boat. I like that. That looks okay. Uh-oh. Gunwale. There you go. Gunwale. That's what I was looking for. That's great. Thank you. God, I knew it was there. The gunwale. That's it. Thank you. Oh, man. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So here I've got this. Now I'm going to put a little bit of dark way back here. Didn't get quite as dark as I wanted it before. I'm going to go in with that same color that I used here. Trying not to. Actually, I need to darken that a little bit. I need to darken this a little bit because I'm going to let it blend out just a little bit. And when I start blending, it's going to lighten quite a bit. But we do have these hills back here, and that needs to be represented in this water. little bit more of the blue. Let's make a transition back into some of this blue. Very nice. It's a little darker than I wanted, even right now, but I think it's going to be fine. I can still move all of that around with my brush and get that to exactly the color that I want. I hope you can see, I can kind of sweep that right away if I want to. There we go, and I bring that right on down, and like I said, a little bit bluer as I'm coming down. In here, not heavy. Not heavy. Look at, I just put a big blob right there. But one swipe with my brush and it's gone. Our water looking good, I think. And then we get darker down here. So let's see what we can do with a bit of darker water down here. And then as we go work our way up, we'll lighten it up a little bit. Is everybody still with me? Let's see. It's starting to see the magic happen. I really need to get everybody on like FaceTime or something like that. We can just, I could hear everybody. Sometimes, you know, I'm in here, I'm in my studio all by myself. And I hear myself talk and I get carried away looking down at what I'm doing. All right, there we go. I can live with that. Oh, we got some nice transitions in that. Get some nice transitions in here. Nice darker back here. You know, maybe the sun is coming up over here and it's casting a darker shadow over the water back here, and it gets lighter. And then over here, well, we've got a. Actually, I was gonna say I should really scrape some of this out here. I do have a little bit of a hard line here I don't want. I'm just going to touch that with the tip of my brush and get rid of that. But I think I'm going to leave it the way it is. I'm not going to mess with it too much. What I am going to mess with is, there's water underneath this guy's arm here. And nobody mentioned it to me. We'll have to fill that in somehow. Kind of like that. That's not too noticeable, is it? That must be me in the canoe. Yeah, that can be me in there. I'd go with that. I got no problem with that. I've been out on boats and canoes plenty. Okay, so while I'm waiting for this to dry and I can't get back in and do a whole lot of work on those canoes for the boats, I'm going to drop in some color here. Let's see, this one is just up on shore, like that. Our shoreline goes something like that. Maybe he's got some darker colors in it. Maybe he's got some greens in it. What else could it have in there? A little bit of this color. Sure, it's got some of that in it. And not worrying a whole lot about what color is supposed to be there. Look at what happened. All of a sudden, it's turned into a nice color being there. We're going to come back and we're going to actually draw in some plants here in the front. So don't worry if this isn't exactly like you thought it was going to look, because we're not quite done with it yet. We're still going. Where am I at? 8:50. Wow. This is another painting that I looked at this and I went, this is going to be, like 40 minutes tops. And now I'm looking at it, it's 50 minutes, and now I'm not even close. Am I going to throw some of the tree reflection in? Oh, you mean from up here? Down here? No, I'm not. What's here? What's there is there. I've got, just some light green reflection there, a little bit over here. And the boats. Let's see. Uh-oh. Katie dozing off, dropping the phone. Okay, Katie, good night. Don't drop your phone. I don't want anything to happen to it. Thank you for stopping by when you could. Get some good night's sleep. Someday I'll learn how to talk. But good night. We'll see you back here next week, hopefully. Fingers crossed. And Cynthia G is here. Good to see you, Cynthia. It's been a while. You like this subject, others not so much. Fair enough. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to come back into my boat right now, and I'm going to grab a bit of the... I'm going to make up our gray color again, the Van Dyke Brown, with a little bit of the ultramarine blue. And I'm going to put in a little shadow underneath our gun whale. A little bit of a harder shadow underneath there. And with a second brush, I don't want that to be a super hard edge on the downward side. I do want it to be a hard edge on the upper side against the gun whale. But on the other side, I want it to be nice and gentle. There we go. And then with that little line, we've just defined the bow of this ship. There it is. I'm going to do this one here, a little darker up on the bow on this one, maybe a little less as we go back and blend a little bit of this out. This blending is what I live for. I love making graded areas, graded washes. Look at that. Now makes that top line really pop off of there. I will admit that oftentimes when I'm in the studio by myself and I don't have anything else to paint, I grab a sheet of paper and I just start painting graded washes. I shouldn't really admit to that, but I do it. I think it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. Everybody's now going, "Oh, that's a kind of a strange thing to do," but you know what? To me, it's a lot of fun, so I'm good with it. Maybe there's a little buckle there or something, makes it a little bit of a bigger mark. I don't know, something like that. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to put some more lines on there in just a second. And how's my water doing there? My water's good. I think it's dry enough. I'm going to attempt to paint this picture of me. Question, was I formally trained or am I self-taught? I am self-taught. I'll briefly give you my story if you want to hear it. I'll give you my story and then I go silent. Hang on just one second here. I was looking for something to do with my life that was specifically non-digital. When I was living in Southern California, and I stumbled across watercolors and started to paint them, just small, little, tiny things, like 2 inches square, something like that. I didn't know what I was doing. I hadn't watched a video on YouTube. I hadn't really done much of anything, and I didn't show them to anybody. Nobody knew I did it. It was something I did when I went home after work. Well, I met the woman that eventually became my wife, and she is a formally trained artist. She went to art school. How's that? However you say that. And, of course, I showed her some of the stuff that I had, and she went, "Oh, this is as good as some of the stuff of the kids that I went to school with did or do." And I went, "Really?" And she went, "Yeah." She said, you should do more of this." And I promptly didn't for a while. And then we moved up to where I'm at now in the central coast of California. And we happened to go to a street fair at one point in time. And there are plenty of artists hanging around. And I was, walking through the watercolor display. And I could do that. I can do that. I can do that. And my wife said, "Look, I've heard you say you can do that lots of times. If you can do it, do it. I'm tired of hearing you talk about it." So basically, it was either put up or shut up. And so I decided to put up. And I got my paints out and started painting again. This time, actually trying to figure out what I need to do to make a decent painting. And I watched a lot of videos. I did a lot of trial and error. Maybe these are wood in here. Let's make these a little warmer. I got all these cold colors in there. Let's make this a little warmer. I would paint on my lunch hour. I would close the door to my office so that my boss wouldn't necessarily see me painting. Thankfully, watercolors are easily set up, easily taken down, easily cleaned up. All I needed was my brushes, my paper, and a towel and a cup of water. Basically, is all I needed, and I could paint for an hour at a time. So I did that, and so after, I want to say a few years of that, 3 or 4 years of that, then my wife finally said, "Well, why don't you do something on YouTube?" And I went, I don't know that I could do anything on YouTube. That's for, those people are good. I'm just me. And she went, "No, I think you could hold your own if you were to do some videos on YouTube." And so I started doing videos on YouTube, and I continued to paint. And that's it. That's how I got to where I am. And I paint now, 3 or 4 times a week still, because I like it. It's so enjoyable for me. I use it as an escape from a digital world, and I do this. So let's see. I hope that answers your question about my training. I don't, there's no formal training that I have, either in drawing or in painting. None. Everything I've done myself. We know it's hard to paint and talk. Sometimes it is hard to paint and talk. Okay, I'm gonna change the color on these. I've got so much blue in here that, and I've got Bigfoot here, it looks like. I don't know what's going on with this guy. I'm gonna leave him. But I want to warm these up. I'm gonna make like one of these orange and one of these red. I think that would help to really warm this up a little bit. So let me make this an orange seat in here. Right, and this part of it is not any really big thing. Just paint that right there. This first layer is just a base of things, and we'll go on and put some other colors on here that will make this, give it some dimension here in just a second. And let me paint one red back here. I'm going to do permanent red, which is this one. And to continue with my my tail, I don't know if you guys ever had one. I started with an old flip video camera. There's a little thing about this wide and about that long, and it's got one button on it, and you push the button and it's on, and you push the button again and it goes off. And that was it for me. I think the whole first year I made videos, that was the only thing I ever used. I didn't do anything else. Then I got a webcam, not this particular one. Actually, it's this one over here. Boom, this one. And I started filming with that. Whoops. Let's see. I'm trying to find the right paintbrush. I think I got it now. And then I got another webcam. I was recording straight to my computer. Now I figured out how to do some streaming. So I've just added a little bit here and a little bit there over the course of 10 years now. A long time anyways. It doesn't always seem like that long, but 10, 12 years, something like that. And that's where I am now. Let's see, YouTube creators have really helped me a lot. YouTube creators have helped me a lot too, and I would encourage anybody that needs help to reach out and ask me if you want. I tell everybody I'm willing to help. I'll do whatever, because I've been so lucky with all of the help that I've gotten. So I'm willing to pay back a lot of that help. But if there are any other creators on YouTube that you really like, man, zip them an email. Make a comment and say, how do I do this? Just do whatever you need to do. That's what I did, and I met all kinds of people. Like I said, I've had so much help with painting and so much help with YouTube. In fact, I'll give her a plug. Heather over at the Craft Shack. She's got the channel Craft Shack on YouTube, KRAAFTSHAAK, the Craft Shack. She's the one who helped me so much with how to do these live videos, how to broadcast on YouTube. She's a whiz with it. Let's see. This shouldn't be a Mr. Then. I'm confused. I thought Mrs. T. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, you said my wife is supportive. Mine does not paint. My wife doesn't paint. My wife is very supportive of my live broadcasts, and in general, all of the painting that I do. She has her own YouTube channel, and so we try to support each other. And when she needs to do a video, then I try to make sure that she's got the time and the space to do that. And when I need to do a video, she tries to help to make sure that I've got the resources to do that. All right, I'm putting in a little bit of shadowing here on our front chair to try to give it some dimension here. There we go. I know it's not going to be perfect on there. I don't think it needs to be exactly perfect. What does she do? My wife is a stay-at-home mom. She watches our kids. And yes, it's a full-time job in and of itself. She doesn't do so much now, but she did toy reviews. The kids are getting a little bit older. The toys that she likes to review, they don't make anymore. So she has a little bit of trouble with that. But if you wanted to check out her channel, it's Goodie Parade. Goddie Parade. And let's see. Add a butt print to the seat. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Here, I'll put a little indentation right in the center there. I guess I should put two of them. A butt print. There you go. How's that? A little indentation right in the center of those. Somebody's been sitting there. Does that make it better? What's the best way to get started on painting landscapes? So the best way to get started on painting landscapes is to jump right in. Let me clarify your question. Are you asking what is the best way to get into painting a landscape painting, or are you asking the best way to start on an individual painting? I think you're asking what the best way to start on an individual painting is, but I want to make sure, so I answer best I can. And while I'm waiting for that answer, I'm going to drop in just a few grasses here and there. And I'm not going to make them all the same color. Let's see, Dana Cole would start painting trees of all shapes. Let me answer your question. I'll try to answer both ways. So to start with, if I were to start painting a particular landscape painting, I would start with the stuff that's furthest in the back. Okay, so usually, but not always, that means your sky, right? You might not have much of a sky in every landscape painting, right? Your painting may not even have a sky in it, but something far back, right? And then work forward as best you can. There's no real right and there's no real wrong way to do it. And if you can do it, So here's the rub. It's always good to work like you read, which is kind of left to right, because then you don't have so much of your hand in the way when you're painting. Ooh, that's too red. Let's go back to our green. And I'm just gonna dab on some colors here and there. Right, maybe there's some lines in here. Gonna make this a bit messier. Maybe this boat has been drug a little bit. There's no right way and there's no wrong way. You'll figure it out on your own. And I'll say further, I don't think it matters really, because you'll see, just like in this one, in this painting, and you'll see lots of people, as you start your painting and you're waiting for your paper to dry in one area, then you're going to go and do something in another area, right? And so you're constantly going to be jumping around. So in a lot of sense, it doesn't matter where you start as long as you do start, because you're going to be going all over the place. Let's see. Which known artist do I like the most? Let's see. I really like John Singer Sargent. Fantastic. Bob Ross. Of course, I mention Bob all the time. I watch Bob. I still watch Bob on the weekends. I love Bob Ross. It's amazing to me that Bob did his show in the 80s and into the 90s on public television in Indiana. I know he traveled around lots of places, and we still watch him. He's still got a huge following. It's just unbelievable to me. John Singer Sargent, of course, fantastic. I just want to darken up a little bit underneath here. I'm going to let that come out a little bit. There's, who's the other guy that I'm trying to think of his name. I don't know how well everybody knows him. I really like Charles Evans, watercolor artist. He's unbelievable, very loose, but you can follow everything he does and see it, and it's just spectacular. What I'm trying to do is get a nice line of a demarcation here underneath this boat. I want it to be really nice and dark right next to the boat, and then fade out a little bit. And I'm losing a little bit of the color because of the paper. You just see it run a little bit. Let me see. I don't know if I need to do any ripples or waves on here. I guess I could put a couple of them on here. Monet for You. Water Lilies Pond is one of your all-time favorites. Frank Clark. Oh my God, Frank Clark. Yes, I love Frank Clark with all his kooky stories, and he wanders around all of Europe and paints. And you talk about a happy accident. Oh my God, Frank Clark he's an accident waiting to happen. He jumps in and he paints something and he just throws it on, and all of a sudden he goes, oh well, and he goes, okay, but he does 8 things and fixes it, and I'm like, I don't know how you managed to do that. But he does. Frank Clark, he's great. I love Frank Clark. Yeah, I used to watch him quite a bit too. I kind of forgot about him. I see him on YouTube every now and again. His channel comes up in my feed. I should watch more of him. He was fun. Yeah, I don't know how much I'm gaining by putting a couple of these. I just wanted a little bit of more texture. I think maybe I should have left it a little flat. Well, talk about texture. There's a little bit of lint there. Maybe I should have left that a little bit flatter water, maybe. It looks a little mottled now, a little weird. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm going to not. I think I probably overstayed my bounds with that water. What I am going to do is make kind of a rope-ish color. So I want to, let's see, I got a knot right here of a piece of rope, and it kind of comes down that way, and this one is tied on like that. And this is tied on here too, but it kind of goes down in the water that way. In fact, right here I could probably give a little bit of something like that. There you go. There's a little disturbance in the water. And now my boats are buoyed. They're tied to shore. Let's see. He had the best things. Frank Clark. Let's see. Yeah, can't forget Bob Ross. Yep. Is John Evans on YouTube? I don't know if John Evans is on YouTube. I'm not sure who John Evans is, to tell you the truth. If I've seen him, I don't. The Charles Reed is a good one. I like him. I'm trying to smooth out a couple of these where I put those lines in, and I'm gonna see if I can't take some of them out as we finish this up. Yeah, I still remember laughing to and at Frank Clark for a long time. Oh my Lord, I forget all about him. Well, this one might be a case of futzing with it a little bit too much. I think the more I mess with this, I think the only thing I can do to fix this is to go back over it with a full wash. And if you guys want to hang around for a second, I'll do this. We can cover up that mess without too much issue. It's not an accident. It's not a mistake. It happens. Let's see. We'll just kind of get this mix like this. Not an accident. It's a feature. It's a feature of this painting that we have this extra dark spot here. That's what it is. There we go. And I'll tell you what, you guys don't tell anybody. I won't tell anybody, and nobody will know that it wasn't supposed to be like that all along, right? I can keep the secret if you guys can keep the secret. There it is. All right. We fixed it. We fixed what wasn't really a problem. Something like that. Well, there's my attempt at these little boats. Now, you see this little line here? I think that's going to go away when this dries. This will dry and be a little bit lighter than that. So that line, that hard line that you see right there is only there because this is wet. That will go away. Let's see. I think it's another good painting. Thank you, Mrs. T. So that's, I think, going to be it for me tonight. There's my boats. I've got some different boats that we're going to do. I'm going to do a boat collage probably. Let me tell you what I have coming up. I paint, oh, this is very exciting. I paint a door on, I've shot the video already. I'm going to upload it. It'll probably come out Friday morning, maybe Saturday morning. I'm going to shoot for Friday morning. I'm going to try to do some more boats. I'm going to try to work on figures, a cup of coffee. If you guys are interested, I'm going to try to do a little bit of paper comparison. Not so much trying to compare a specific brand of paper, but you can't get away from that to some extent. But cheaper paper, wood pulp paper, and better cotton paper to see what the differences are with colors, with bleeds, what they look like when they dry, when we put on a wash over top of another one. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to try to do, I'm trying to figure out how exactly I'm going to do it. A video about ox gall. If you guys have ever used ox gall, and yes, it's just as probably disgusting as it sounds, but ox gall is a way to make, I always describe it as making your water wetter. So that's going to be coming up. Maybe a book review. I may not have to read a book, but I've got several. I'm in various states of read, so I might do that. I will probably do a video on how to paint from a black and white photo to the color that you are going to paint. I think that's going to be an interesting one. If you have any interest, down below, links to Instagram, Twitter, my webpage. I've got the coffee fund, the beer fund. I've got a link to my Etsy store. What else is on there? All kinds of good stuff. I'm trying to add to it all the time. I don't know. That's about, unless you guys have any other questions, I think that's all I've got for everybody today. Thank you. I hope they're good ideas for future videos. That's all I think I've got. I had a great time. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me show you. Oh, you've got the reference photo right there. So this guy standing in the boat. We got some shadow on it. You can definitely tell it's a boat. There's a little bit of texture on it. I think had we had a little different paper, we'd have had a little truer bleed up here, and we could have done a little bit more. But I like it. It's kind of a fun little painting. Is that live right now? I'm not sure what you mean. Osurin Bonchi. But that's it. That's what I've got. Thank you all for joining me tonight. I had a great time. We'll see you back here next Wednesday for another painting in the studio. I'll get up what we're going to paint then. And what can I say? Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.